Well, okay then. uh, Happy birthday to chess24, obviously. Happy to be here. As I promised, there might be some weird things happening with this stream, but for now, as usual, let me know if things are working, because I don't really know how good the setup is here. The connection is. It's as you can probably see from the surroundings. It's a hotel Wi-Fi, and those are famously less than entirely reliable. So I don't really know just how solid the stream is. There appear to be a lot of weird things happening to that video, and I hope it will not become too much of an issue. I tried getting as good a setup as possible under the circumstances, but I don't really know how well it worked. But enough on that topic. We'll figure it out as we go along. 6 years. 6 years is quite a span for a website these days. So very happy we're going strong, and I will now switch to a slightly less disturbing view and minimize Xsplit so that I can actually read what you're saying. I do have both chats open on a very large screen in front of me. Hopefully, always blame the Wi-Fi. That's what I'm intending to do. So hopefully I will be able to keep abreast of developments in both chats, and that the connection holds up. But that is somewhat out of my hands. So let's see what challenges we got today. And as usual, I will probably start with some of the higher rated ones that I see, and then we will go from there. Hey, Jorbs. I was talking about you earlier. As usual, opening requests and so on and so forth. You should play Magnus. He's online and waiting, apparently. I will take a look, because it's a long list, and I'm really not very good at scrolling through that list, famously. No chess? There should be chess. Yeah. That's because I'm an idiot. But there will be chess eventually. Yeah. If that's the full excitement, of technical issues we get today, we will be at least I will be very, very happy. But yeah, this game appears to be a non-starter, so maybe I should start looking for the Magnus challenge to get the obligatory loss out of the way. Magnus is apparently playing Anton Kovalyov. What disrespect. Not waiting for me to accept the challenge. How could he? Is there actually a Magnus challenge? I do not know. What chat is Peter looking at? Both, hopefully. Although while I'm scrolling through that screen, I struggle to look at any, so that's an issue. I'll donate 50, says the Veld, if you beat Magnus. I don't know if we're set up to accept donations, to be honest, but that's a nice sentiment. And we're starting the stream on the correct note by, as is customary, by failing to equalize against the London. Can't see usernames. This is very alarming now. Hang on a second. Let me check. What happened to the usernames? This is quite upsetting, because the usernames, as you can see from this white bar on your screen, should actually be visible. I will we're not fixing it on the fly. I don't really know how, and I'm not going to call in help to fix this. So I will just I guess I'll have to say who I'm playing against. This is weird because the setup definitely worked when we were doing it earlier today. I'm playing against Doppelangriff, and yeah, as mentioned, utterly failing to equalize against the London as is good and proper. I think I've even done this on stream more than once. And it never really worked out for me, so I don't know why I continue insisting on playing this particular setup, but you know, if at first you don't succeed, and so on. Some good old, yeah. Let's just pretend every game is against Magnus. Yeah, that would be one way of going about things here. I would like to play b6, b5, but I think a4 is kind of awkward. I don't think he can take immediately, I mean on c7 and on b5, but if he goes a4 first, I might be in some trouble. I maybe could make this work if I start with knight f5 though. Telling us his rating would help. Yeah, that opponent is rated 26, 27, and it really is weird that it's not capturing the usernames, because it is supposed to. Nope, that didn't fix it. So the intention was to play a6 here, and if he takes on b5 and on a8 to take with the queen and hope that nothing drops. I don't know if that's actually something that you can do here, but I will try. It's bugging me though that we already have some less than ideal things happen to the setup. Knight e4 is a good move. I like knight e4. Obviously, I would like to play d6 here, but it loses a pawn. Maybe what I should do is actually relinquish control over the a file for the time being to play d6, because I think allowing knight e5 would be quite painful here. And rook a7, I can play queen b8 for now. And in general, my plan is to land the queen eventually somewhere on the c6 square. And after that, my position will start looking a lot more harmonious. I'm still playing queen c6. I don't think knight b4 worries me. I mean, knight b4 clearly doesn't worry me here at all. He doesn't really want to spoil his structure this way. I might at some point start looking at ideas of trading the rooks off by playing rook a8. Also, I might actually at some point become interested in f5, f4, but obviously only if I win both tempi by doing this. I'm not going to do it if the knight leaves the e4 square, of course. And the principle of too many pieces trying to occupy one good square is once again in effect here. I was quite happy to trade, but actually fe3, which I sort of dismissed originally, is a clever move here by my opponent, fighting not to let me control the d5 square comfortably. Let me figure out what I want to do here. It's slightly unfortunate just how much material gets traded off here, but I still have some mild initiative, and I think it's only black that plays for a win here, although with the pawn on e3, with the pawn on e3, controlling the e4 square, it's really not that bad for white at all. I'm not sure I like knight f3 though, because now I have this potentially annoying setup with queen e4, And I wanted to play knight d5 next, but actually queen takes b5 is maybe stronger than I originally thought. I should at least get some preparation in for that. Maybe play g6 for now, g6, king g7, just to kind of safeguard my king side a little bit. And then I will definitely start looking at knight d5s. Does he want to play queen d3? He probably does want to play queen d3, which is annoying. I can still go knight d5 here. It's actually kind of interesting. I could also go bishop g5 and then knight d5 maybe. That was just a blunder, but it might work out for me because after bishop d6 I do have bishop takes e3 and then bishop f4 check. But as is often the case in these games, my opponents kind of never really feel like I blundered when I blunder with every second move. We'll try to fix the graphic after this game, guys. And sorry, I've not been following chat too much because I decided that this game actually deserved a lot more attention since I wasn't getting too much progress made. Yeah, I'm also not speaking any kind of understandable English, but this is the life. Knight f3, queen f2 is extremely unpleasant for him. Queen f1, queen d2, I suspect, is also quite annoying because the pawns are now starting to fall, and I think I am actually now quite significantly better. I'm down on the clock, but 1 minute for this should still be perfectly manageable because of just how good my position suddenly is. I seem to just be collecting pretty much everything. I don't know which one to even start with. I mean, they both look so appetizing. I think breaking his structure should not be a mistake here. I mean, I can take on d4 instead, but then he plays b3 and his pawns are still somewhat connected. Although now I see I could have played queen c3 in that position and collected more material. But now we're just healthy 2 pawns up, and provided I don't get horribly flagged somewhere, this should be a reasonably smooth conversion. There's really no counterplay here. My king is completely safe, and yeah, I can even start pushing. There's really no reason for me not to start pushing straight away here. And we have more d pawns coming up. So okay, so we are actually going to get flagged here if I don't speed up. I should have actually played yeah, I mean, I got I got slightly nervous there towards the end, but we did get there eventually. Okay, there will be a short break in proceedings here while I try to fix the issue with the player name, which is annoying, I think, me more than potentially more than anybody else, but it is annoying me. So just give me maybe like 30 seconds to a minute, hopefully. Hello again. Hopefully we're live, and the issue seems to have been fixed. Yeah, and then where there's additional EDC piling up on top of all the usual EDC, but at least we do have the player names up on the screen now. So let's play some more chess. I've seen Frez get completely destroyed by somebody called Sergei Kar. Let me see if I can somehow support Frez's effort by also getting complete crushed by somebody called Sergei Kar, but I can't find that challenge in the list somehow. Nor can I see Magnus, which is which is very upsetting. Sergei Carr is no joke. Trust me, I know. And we have been informed this is not actually Karakin, so we don't know who that is. And second game in a row, I faced the line which basically makes you quit playing the opening you're playing currently. The dreaded Alapin, which was made very popular by none other than the inestimable, and I can't pronounce any words today, Jorn van Foreest. What my opponent is doing, though, should never ever work by any kind of normal means. I'm very confused by this, but I guess he knows what he's doing. Just castles here, as if it's the most obvious. Actually, yeah. I mean, with a knight on c7, you can see why this would be very, very dangerous for me. I wanted to just castle, but then knight g5 might be quite strong. But I don't actually see much in a way of possible improvements to that. And what I'm doing might just lose on the spot now to something like queen d3, but it's too late to turn away. Queen d3, I do have rook a d8, queen takes d6, bishop c8, which may or may not have been saving the piece. Bishop a4. This move slightly confuses me because it seems like it's giving me squares to put my pieces on. But maybe he just wants bishop c2, bishop. I mean, yeah, this is quite clever. This is quite clever. And now bishop c2, I guess. This is very, very well played by my opponent so far. I really like how he is doing things up until this moment. I don't like how I'm doing things up until this moment, but that's also very, very normal for this stream. Okay, rook d6, queen f6 is a threat as well. I wanted to say we can under no circumstances allow knight e4, but there is, like, it's easier to name things which are not a problem here. Everything is a problem. f5, bishop g5 loses, e5, knight e4 loses. I think we actually have to allow rook takes d6, sadly, and hope we don't lose by force there. Starting with bishop takes g6 might win on the spot, by the way. If he goes bishop g6, hg, queen, rook takes d6, I suspect I cannot take the rook because queen takes f6 will be made. A worthy opponent indeed, Ting Han. So far, I have not been a worthy opponent for him, frankly. And yeah, a3 is also clearly a very, very big problem, but I will attempt to stop it by, physical means, just not letting him play before. The thing is, yeah, he can just go rook b1, and I don't know if I have a sufficiently non-losing way of stopping before knight e4. This is maybe my best shot, but it looks very, very grim. I also appear to be lagging quite a bit, which is not going to be helpful as the stream progresses. Before Steele appears to be very much winning. My plan was to take on f3 and play bishop b5, but then I just noticed that b takes c5 followed by rook takes b7 is more or less winning on the spot. So I should have actually done this without the inclusion of a5 and rook b1. Maybe then I would have had a shot. This is very beautiful, but also I don't think it does very much. I mean, no, the threat is knight e4. I was going to say I'm not sure exactly what the threat is, but there is a threat. The lag is not bad. The lag is maybe not bad on your side, but it is kind of dramatically horrible on my side, though. Is knight d3 a move I can play? I mean, I have fg, but after fg, I seem to be losing in the end there. Let's try it anyway. There's a funny tactical try there we can go for. Yeah, bc5 is what was worrying me. Bc5 much more than bishop takes d8, because knight f3 check has to be stopped, and he needs to be able to control the e4 square. And here, yeah, I think I should just be completely lost, and also losing on time. The This is a very nicely played game by my bishop before just ends the game on the spot pretty much, as do, I suspect, many other moves. Yeah, let's just resign here. This game is not going to go well for me. I think probably, upon reflection, knight c7 is not the best move in this position, and possibly even bishop d7 is not the best move in this position. Maybe I already have to play something like d takes e5 and queen c7. It helps to know theory, as is my very normal complaint about things. It does help to be able not to think about things until you've gotten out of the opening. I didn't even try to flag him. Well, I mean, with 12 seconds against 50 and a lost position, I think it's very, very difficult to go for any kind of flagging tricks. Queen f3 wasn't the trick. I was hoping if he takes on d8, I think I have knight f3 check gf, queen takes f3, which was my intention. Peter is an amazing flagger only on himself. I think that is very fair, Smash. I think that is entirely fair. I don't like c4 in this position, though. I think, I mean, I will get a sort of a theoretical position, a tempo down, but I think it's such a nice theoretical position that I should not be that unhappy about it. Like, we get a sideline of the Grunfeld where, yes, white got to play h2, h3, which is a very useful move. Actually, it stops bishop g4. It is a generally kind of an all-purpose useful move in these types of structures, but it should not. Maybe it should actually. Yeah, I'm looking at this. I feel like my absolute conviction that this changes nothing may have been a little bit misplaced. It does change things that I'm a full tempo down compared to normal positions. I do have the usual knight takes d4 followed by e5 trick here, but I don't know how happy I am with it. Let's play another waiting move for now. Actually, probably I should have gone for something tactical, because bishop f5 actually makes makes any kind of tactical counterplay I could have later on in the game much harder to realize. Yeah, this is more annoying than I thought. Queen c8, queen a4 is actually more than a little annoying. I will still play it because I don't really see anything that is necessarily stronger. And in this position, I will finally take on e5 and play some kind of f6, queen b7, and maybe even the immediate queen b7, I don't know. I was going to play knight d2, but then I realized actually knight d2 is it's a funny little trick. It probably doesn't work, but yeah, it shouldn't work. My idea was to meet rook e1 with bishop takes h3, but now I realize queen d1 actually stops me from getting the queen from c8 to g4, which kills off my counterplay stone dead. Rook d1, knight c4 I'm much less unhappy about, because this way I'm attacking the pawn on b2 and I'm attacking the bishop on e5 in such a way that he will be forced to recapture with a pawn. And that is a huge big deal for black here, if he actually gets to trade off this bishop whilst also changing the structure. And somewhat surprisingly, it's actually not that easy for him to control the pawn on b2, to protect the pawn on b2 in any kind of a comfortable way, because the rooks cannot get to it, and if you put the queen on the b file, you give me additional tempi. And b4 is an exchange sacrifice, which I think I should accept, although bishop takes h3 is an interesting alternative. But I think we should just get the exchange here. There's really no reason not to. It is a full exchange after all, and after playing f6, we're never really worried about our dark squares. Well, I did miss b5. Should have paid more attention, but then again, like I don't know if I should be that unhappy with this. Maybe I should be. Yeah, missing b5 was an important turning point in this game. I should still be better after cb, I feel, but yeah, this is not great. Even queen b3 here, I mean, even the endgame is very possibly just not good for me, despite being a full exchange up. Queen a6 was a very, very large scale lemon by me. This I did calculate though, and I thought this was okay, but now I'm not so sure. Knight c7 is quite decent. c6 is also quite strong, but here once again I think I might be getting away with it. I mean, I'm probably not winning, but I shouldn't be losing either, unless we count on time. I mean, I am probably going to lose this position on time, which is the norm. Yup. And frankly, it does feel like I am giving a little bit of a handicap here with the connection. So I should probably take a break from my usual routine and play the five games for preference, 5-minute games, because 3-minute games against good opposition will be a lot tougher than usual. I feel like I do appear to be losing seconds somewhere there in the process. That's I mean, the lag here is quite clearly not on the website. I'm on a somewhat shaky hotel connection, and I think in this particular case, blaming what's happening on the website feels a bit harsh to me. Also, time management obviously is an issue. What I'm doing here is I'm playing an opening I have very, very little idea about, but I do know that I have more pawns right now, which is filling my heart with something approaching joy. I think I can safely castle here in 95. I'm not worried because I can simply take and go 95 if he recaptures with the d pawn, or even with the bishop, frankly. And just shuffle. This actually came out quite poorly for my opponent because basically you almost never want to be playing e2, e4 in these types of structures with white because you kill off your own bishop on g2, and you also make it a lot simpler for black to realize the dream of his position, which is to play c6, c5. And now basically, once again, obviously, there is no limit to the positions I can horribly misplay, but we are in the safely pawn up territory. Rook c3, yeah, but I think I can go like rook fc8 here and force some favorable trades. And as mentioned, eventually we'll just have a position where I have a protected passer on b5 as an extra pawn, and you very rarely complain when this is the case. I don't really understand what is being gained by including knight b3, but it's not a mistake as such. Once again, just hoping not to mess up horribly here by allowing some counterplay that is not really there. Queen b6 is a bit annoying, but I don't think it does very much. I can even play queen c6 and reply. Why I allowed rook d7, I will never know. This is what I meant by messing up too much, but I think I should still be okay, because I mean there's such a built-in advantage here that you can even waste a couple of tempi and not really have to worry about relinquishing all of your advantage. But obviously there was no reason at all to do it the way I did. The endgame actually should be reasonably comfortably winning, I think. Because after rook d7 I can go bishop b4, and eventually I will start generating threats. Actually, rook a7 is a lot more annoying than I thought originally. I should still be winning, but yeah, I feel like I probably should not have been allowing this. Is knight takes b5 something he can do here? Let's hope not, because that would actually hurt. If knight takes b5 is a move that white can play in this position. Okay, I'm not worried about this obviously, but okay. Let's get the king out of the jail, and yeah, the knight on f3 is so passive that eventually I think I will be able to just run with my king towards the b pawn and win that way. We can also just lock things down completely by putting the rook on e4 for the time being. I'm not aiming to take anything. I'm just aiming to not let him make any moves, at least not immediately. Actually, maybe I should be aiming to start making concrete progress with rook b2 and then b3. I'm really not worried about the f7 pawn. It does very little for my opponent to be winning it here. And now we finally made enough progress to be quite certain of the win, because okay, blundering knight d3 would be one way to just completely throw this away. How winning is this actually? Well, I mean, it is very, very winning, but it's still possible to mess it up. If I take on f4 and king f5, king g3, I mean, I'm pretty sure I should be winning with good technique, but good technique is not something that we've seen so far very much of. And yeah, there is, it's never a given that I will show any. But yeah, but here we clearly will be very much in time to drive the rook away and win it for the b2 pawn. It's really not difficult. How does he promote the pawn though? The king just gets to c2 and wins. It would be a draw probably if my rook were on b1, but the rook is not on b1. The rook participates very much in the queening of the pawn. For instance, this way, this is, not the only way by any means, but it's the most comfortable one. So we win a game, which is a bit of a shocker. Let's once again briefly look through the list. If maybe I see some names I recognize and people will, really badly want me to play against. But so far I see no Maxi Bogues or any of the dignitaries. I see the usual people who beat me like a drum, but yeah. I think playing Max on this connection would be a bit too much. My pleasure, Tom Bass. Did you get a chance to look at the Suri Artemiev game? Asks Sunil Mandal. Yeah, I looked at it. It seems like a very nicely played game by Suri. I didn't look at the opening very closely, but anyone who beats Artemiev sort of on his home turf is should be very happy with himself. And Suri is, with the huge strides made by the Indian youngsters, he is maybe not as widely known, but I think my first real personal encounter with him was when he won Beal the year I played there, and he impressed me greatly during that tournament. This is a position I haven't looked at in absolute donkey's years, and yeah, it will be very, very difficult to remember what I'm supposed to do here. It's been, such a staple of all of our lives at one point. This I'm probably kind of going to get completely destroyed here because I'm choosing to play it in the slowest way possible, and that normally doesn't go very well for black. But now we're finally sort of getting somewhere, or possibly not. Maybe we aren't. I don't know why I thought this was such great strides for me, getting my knight to c4 in this version. I mean, I can take on e3. It's always kind of useful to actually get rid of that bishop, but I think a much bigger issue here is that I'm getting completely overrun on the king side. Something like h5, g6 will happen and just kind of sweep me off the board here. I should have gotten some kind of protection against it as early as possible, and this gives me at least maybe a tempo to play g6 somewhere. I don't know if I should, if I actually have a moment though. I'm very worried I will just lose by force to something. So for now, I will try to put my pieces on slightly more active squares and pretend I have counterplay. I do actually have counterplay now, shockingly. I can take on f3 and on e4. I can insert bishop e7 for now, but let's go. I mean, this is more fun. Yeah, they do sometimes play h5 in these types of positions, Don't Cry Wolf, but I sort of chose not to. This is not one of those. I blundered something. I just chose to play it in a different manner. And I have a sneaking suspicion my way of playing it wasn't really great. But my opponent failed to completely punish me. And now my position appears to be playable. Obviously, the knight is hanging. You cannot play knight g4 because the rook on h1 is a full rook is hanging on h1, which is very relevant. If I was only winning the exchange on h1, this wouldn't have been so great, but it's a full rook. And if I play something like bishop e2 or rook h3, I can take on c2. He probably gives up the queen, and we get this weird position where the white has a rook and two light pieces for a queen and 3, which is very, very unclear, but I mean, unclear, I will take unclear in this situation, considering how poor my position must have been at some point in the game. I will definitely take unclear. Whoa. This is a surprise. I don't think this is great. Okay, this clearly isn't great. He could have taken knight takes e2, but then, I mean, here I'm just like the entire chess set up. the game just suddenly ended for no reason. Yeah, I will force you to trade more pieces here, sir, or you will not actually win any of them. If you decline to take them for this long, you will not actually get to win any of them. I don't know why I played rook d4, but it doesn't really matter. Obviously, I'm a full rook up here, so, and not even will be behind on time. Are you following Test cricket these days, Peter? Yeah, well, not as much as I used to, but I still follow it, certainly. Let's play some somewhat lower rated challenges for a bit. I need a break from constantly worrying about getting completely destroyed. And also I can maybe scroll through the chat and see if I missed anything important. No, I'm not, as you can see from this, I'm not only playing 2500 plus games today. I will play some lower rated challenges. I do only have 2 hours, so I will prioritize play against stronger opposition, but I will play some lower rated challenges as well. I mean, if they accept my challenges, which is kind of important. But there we are. And it seems like I haven't actually missed very much going on in the chats. Apart from Magnus actually launching a rival stream while I'm struggling here manfully with my disconnects and lag and general lack of ability, which feels like a little bit of a 0 mana deal 2 to an undamaged minion, but there you go. Can we take on e5 here? I would like, if possible, to take on e5 here and pretend I'm doing quite well, but I'm not entirely sure it's great. Not because of this though. I was much more worried in this position about bishop takes f2 and then knight takes e5. I should still be better, but there at least it feels like the question if I'm better or not is a lot less obvious. Seems like Peter is streaming from Africa. No, it's quite cold outside, but the internet is not the greatest, if that's what you mean. This is clearly a very nice position for white. We do get to break up my opponent's pawn structure, and the weakness on d6 will be extremely annoying for him going forward. I will play queen h4. I mean, it's not. I don't think there will be much actual attacking of the naked king here, but it's just a nice square for the queen. And obviously, if I do get to play bishop g5, then there definitely will be some attacking. But I think if black plays h7, h6 here, my sacrifices, at least immediately, will not work. But yeah, as mentioned, you should be stopping this. You should not be allowing this. The spin is extremely dangerous, and now black probably has to play h6, bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, which is a very, very miserable existence, because if you don't, you actually do get kind of mated on the king side because of the pin. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, somebody posted a link in chat of what appeared to be a Magnus stream. Uh, there was none scheduled, which is why I was so surprised. But there was a link, and I did not have enough time to investigate what the link actually pertained. So if I spread some fake news there, I apologize. I did not mean to. No, I'm looking at both chats, hedgehogs. One hedgehog, or possibly 1,963 hedgehogs, depending on how you read that. Magnus is not streaming on Mixer. Some people are, though. Some people are streaming on Facebook even. Who knew that was a thing? Okay, one more somewhat lower rated challenge, and then we'll go back to playing the stronger ones. Yeah, I don't know. That's not a lower rated challenge, but I just feel that, you know, streaming me scrolling through lists you can't even see is not premium content. Lower rated is below 2,900. No, that's a bit harsh, Blobix. That's a bit harsh because a little bit more of this, and I myself will be below 2,900. And where will we all be if that happens? Oh, people were asking for a Caracan, but probably from me, not against me. Well, we do tend to oblige in one way or the other on this website. Yeah, yet another line. Well, this, I mean, I'm not going to give the speech here because I have actually looked at this in quite some detail at some point in my life. It's just that it's very, very difficult to remember anything. Do you remember playing Kasparov in an online match in the 90s? What was your lag like then? It wasn't actually that horrible during that match. That's not why I lost. I lost because I got completely destroyed, sort of on the board. Yeah, but that's a memory I didn't think very many people still had. I definitely remember that, but I don't know why others still would. This is sort of mainline theory of this line, or at least it used to be mainline theory of this line. But black were supposed to play bishop d7 instead of a6 on move 7. And he would have had the exact same position he has right now, but with a much more useful move thrown in. Obviously, having the bishop on d7 here is very beneficial for black. Bishop b5 becomes an idea. Castling queenside becomes one move closer, and so on and so forth. So I think probably my opponent remembered the general outline of what he was supposed to be doing, but not the exact move order. And now he is in trouble. This is trap time, as some people say. And yeah, this is not a difficult tactic, but a kind of an important tactic here. I want to trade off the dark squared bishops, and if e5, I can just take on e5, because in the end of that line, I do have rook f1, e1, picking up the queen when it appears on that square. And as we are talking about it, we see it on the board. The Liquidator 101 says, Svidler, what do you think of your draw in versus Gushik in 2007 in the Semislav? It's one of the more exciting games I've played in my entire life. I haven't actually kind of re-looked at it in ages and ages. And I don't know how much it stands, the quote unquote test of time with the modern engines. But I feel, very happy having played it over the board. I think it's definitely one of the highlights of my career, and I know that Sasha also rates it very highly, and we enjoyed it a great deal. Sort of having been, part of it. If you haven't seen that game, it's actually very much worth looking at. It's from the Candidates Tournament 2007 in Mexico City. Very, very exciting game. I'm sure it's not that hard to find. How do you challenge Peter? There's my screen name somewhere towards the bottom of your screen. If you hover over it, there should be a challenge me button. I think that's the accepted reply to this. I mean, Bishop h6 forces him to play f5, but I don't know if I want to force him to play f5. Actually, why not? Shouldn't matter. And if he plays f6, I can even take on f8 and kind of get the same position with even more extra material. Do you have a YouTube channel? I do have a YouTube account, which has some videos on it, I suspect, but they are not what you would call a channel. It's just me doing random things. Are they Hearthstone videos? There's also a channel with quite a lot of Hearthstone videos, but that one is somewhat more difficult to find. It's not open to general public, let's put it like this. I do appear to have a lot of free time on my hands, considering how many absolutely pointless enterprises I've at least attempted in my life. What is the best way to prep for a top tournament, do you think? This is a somewhat topical question. Well, I mean, you will have to get a lot of opening work in. These days, I think prep very much involves, up to 95% opening work, and then maybe some solving to warm yourself up for the actual event. And if we're talking about, I mean, everybody plays Queen f3 these days, but I haven't actually looked at it ever, at least not properly, not from the white side. And I have looked at this position quite in depth from both colors, at least at some point. So I feel like I should probably be playing this rather than the other one. Having said all that, obviously I don't remember any of it, none of it whatsoever. It is very upsetting. If that's true, Jake Loans, feel free never to share them with the community at large. I'm not sure about playing g5 this early. I have a feeling we might actually be following my own game with the black pieces against Fabiano Caruana in one of the European Club Cups, where I was very much winning with black kind of immediately out of the opening, and then failed to put Fabi away, which is also very normal because Fabi is one of the more tenacious defenders the world chess currently has. And that, I think, that particular year, me not winning that game cost my club the title, because I think we drew that match and we needed to win it. I'm not sure. I mean, what my opponent is doing here is extremely solid, but also very, very passive. And I think there must have been a way to play slightly more actively here and not allow me this, kind of slow but very obvious plan of opening the H file and then giving some kind of mate along the H file, which sounds simplistic, but it is what I'm going to be attempting here. I might be one tempo short here, though, which is a bit annoying, but I'm not entirely sure. I might be okay. The point is, I need to do this kind of before the H file gets opened, because if you imagine this same position with the H, G, F, G already thrown in, Black will have the option of playing King G8, F7, which will kind of stop me from taking on H7 and winning. And yeah, what my opponent is doing here should show you the measure of the desperation Black position is in, because this is clearly not very attractive. Although I am currently not entirely sure how I win by force, which is annoying me. I mean, I will win slowly if I have to, and I do feel very strongly that my position has to be winning here, but the fact that I couldn't instantly spot a way to break through and just win outright was driving me slightly nuts. Knight e2 and then f4 was my first idea there. I am bored, but I did not want to. Yeah, gf is winning, also queen takes g3 is winning, but I think this is kind of cleaner because of just how few squares his queen has after I recapture on g3 after queen f7. We just completely crash through and give mate. Yeah, but if we go back to this position, if I go knight e2, it allows him to maybe take on h5 or play knight f5 or something, and I didn't want to do that. What's the strangest place you played chess as, asks Country Yellow. I don't know about strange places. I haven't played in very many strange places. I have played in some extremely beautiful places and some quite distant places. I played a 2-game match against Magnus on Svalbard, which is somewhat topical because I played a user named Svalbard just a moment ago. There should be just, I mean, like, there is a number of things which have to be made here, right? For instance, this, right? This has to be made, right? And Chess Bay with gifts, as she does everywhere she goes. Thanks very much, Chess Bay, for the 5 gifted subs. We do appreciate you and everything you do for the chess communities everywhere. Let's see if I missed any more questions somewhere. Seemingly not. So yeah, that game went sharply downhill for my opponent, somewhere around here, where he chose, let's say, not to play something like rook f d8 with the intention of playing first e6, e5, and then d7, d5, just breaking my center wide open and hoping to start his own counterplay. And instead, he played this very, very slow setup, and he should have been playing. I mean, instead of bishop c6, you should be playing b4, then a5, and then bishop a6. If this is your plan, and it's actually kind of sensible to try and trade off this bishop on f1 because it's a good piece, and the bishop on b7 isn't very, in very, very general terms. You should be playing b4 immediately, then a5, then bishop a6. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we have here. Svidler versus Grishuk, which tourney? We were talking about the game we played in the Mexico City candidates tournament, 2007. There were two. Both were actually quite interesting, but the one I won with white was basically won at home by my seconds, who found a very, very nice idea in the Najdorf. So we're talking about the black one, the one that ended in a draw. What do you think about the Stonewall? Asks Sidari Chess. I've never actually played the Stonewall. I don't really feel like I understand the structure, and I think there's a new video series by a young Norwegian kid who apparently has some experience with the line and is willing to share it. I haven't looked at the videos yet, but I assume they are good because the kid is decent at the game. I was operating under the assumption that I can take on b2 here, but also I can maybe just go knight g4 and not bother. I think that's probably safer. It does allow white to play d4, but in general, if I pick up this bishop on e3, I'm not that worried about white having to achieving d3, d4. And if he does this, I can play d6 and then knight e5 and have a very nice outpost on the d4 square. My opponent is doing this so slowly that I'm actually kind of tempted to even include bishop f6. But maybe I should actually be cashing in my quote-unquote chips here. What do you think of Prague and Firouzja winning it? I mean, we all know Firouzja will be good. Me and Jan are very much on the record saying this for 2 weeks straight while Vaikanzea was happening, and nothing changed in the meantime. But I do feel extremely sad for Vidit, because Vidit was playing so well in the tournament, and he will be absolutely gutted that he hasn't won it, I think. There needed to be a complete breakdown by Vidit for Firouzja to have a chance of winning that tournament. And yeah, that game Vidit lost with white against Navarre is just such heartbreak material. Yeah, allowing before here is sort of the height of stupidity. I kind of remembered it wasn't possible on the previous move because the knight was hanging, and then I tuned out when, like, I started thinking about the Vidit topic, and it made me so maudlin that I just completely ignored the one idea white has in these positions, which is not best business practice. And now I don't exactly know how to react to this. Actually, I think I'm just much worse suddenly, which is annoying. I have to say, it's annoying and feels like, you know, the world is conspiring against me here. Ban everyone who distracted you, Peter. Yeah, that's the way to go. Swing that ban hammer. Swing it high and wide. Do you think Taimur will have a good chance in the candidates? Taimur is a very solid player, but I think he got into the candidates basically on natural ability. We all know he's an extremely gifted player. There's no real surprise he's done well at the World Cup. It's not the first World Cup he went reasonably deep in. But the candidates is a slightly different kettle of fish, and he will have to work. He will have to put in some serious hours into sort of reacquainting himself with the state of modern opening theory and so on and so forth. If he decides to actually do that, he has about as good a chance as most people not named Caruana or Dingley Renard have. but it's a somewhat large if, in my opinion. This is a bit of a like I'm not dying in this position anymore, which is an improvement. I think rook takes b7 was playable. I don't think white needed to avoid it. I will sidestep the potential pins with knight e2 and so on. Like I seem to be kind of okay here, which is sort of both deserved and undeserved. I'm pretty sure my position was quite good, but then I'm also pretty sure that my position was quite unpleasant when I blundered. But the knight on d4 now without support is still a very awkward piece. I don't actually think I'm doing well here. I don't know why my opponent allowed me to play b5 here. I think I would have played queen f2 in a heartbeat in the previous position, just driving the knight away from d4. It's still possible, but now, yeah, this will be the explanation. And this is interesting and very topical and something that is often quite strong in these types of positions. So if that was his intention, I take my criticism back. But it has to be this specifically. Otherwise, I think allowing me the tempo to play b5 was a mistake. There will be a ton of draws in the candidates except a couple wins for Fabi. No, I don't think that's how it works, actually. And I speak from experience. Those fields are obviously extremely close, and there will be a decent amount of draws. But there are also 14 rounds of playing against the strongest opposition the world has to offer outside of obviously Magnus, day in, day out, no respite, no no real way to have a slightly easier day. And people do get extremely tired. And also towards the second half of the tournament, when the tournament situation crystallizes and people kind of get separated into two very, very different groups of people, like people who still have a chance of the qualification and the people who no longer feel like they do have a chance for qualification. And those two groups of people have very, very different motivations going forward from that moment. So no, I don't think that description is at all fair. I'm also not sure I'm playing this correctly, but I also don't think I've bungled it entirely yet. I've allowed some counterplay which I didn't need to allow, though. I will say that. Why did I pin myself here? Oh, this is just like, now rook takes e6 as a move. This is a mistake, though. I'm very sure this is a mistake. Maybe not. Maybe I'm also wrong about this. But I felt like this gives me actually no, this is not a mistake. This is fine by my opponent. We are very much entering don't try this at home territory here. I'm wondering if after EF I can actually play rook takes g2, but my intention was to play h6 here and pretend things are under control because of how strong my rook on g2 actually is. And things might actually be under control here for a given value of under control, which in this particular case is not very high, actually. Yeah. Luckily for me, I do have rook h4. Oh no, d4. Okay, I got very, very much saved by my opponent there. I don't think bishop b3 actually does anything. I haven't blundered it, I've actually allowed it. This was not a blunder. Yeah, that was an interesting game, but somewhat marred by some mistakes. And yeah, I think probably I do have to take on g2 here. My opponent takes, I go knight h4 check, king g3, I take on f3. But yeah, I was worried about getting mated in some position like this, which is why I included h6. But what I missed is precisely what my opponent played: queen f4 followed by queen g4, and then there is the threat of rook takes f5. And if he goes d3, d4 here, I suspect he just wins. But he was so low on time that he didn't spot it. He did spot queen f4, queen g4 though, which is something I completely missed. So well played to him, and I think time management is what let him down in the end. And yeah, people having fights with Nightbot is something that will never fail to bring a satisfied chuckle to my lips. Nobody ever beats Nightbot. You're better off not trying. My pleasure, Torjager. It was a very well played game by you up to the very, very end. Nightbot versus AlphaZero 2.0 in 2020. Yeah. I think Nightbot finds a way to ban it straight out the gate and the game ends, frankly. I think AlphaZero has no shot. At least, like, then AlphaZero will probably devise an algorithm not to get banned by Nightbot. But it will take it some time. It will eventually settle on a long list of things it can say in chat which don't get it banned, but it will take some time getting there. Okay, it's what did I suggest we should play in this position in the video series? Does anybody remember? Because it's kind of critical. I think in this position, if you don't do it just right, you end up really, really disliking where you are. So I would very much appreciate some kind of a helping hand from our esteemed members. I'm very sure I already misplayed it badly. Frankly, I just don't like this position anymore. It's been a while since I returned to this, because honestly, this is one of the lines where I think mainly for the reasons of expediency, I switched away from what I was recommending. Not because I no longer think it is working, but because I no longer feel like you have to do what I was suggesting you do, and there are simpler ways of equalizing. Specifically, I think the b6 move in this position, which I was not really aware of when I was recording the videos. So it's not me trying to hold out on the chess24 members who bought the videos. It's just that that was a development which happened later. But I'm pretty sure that I'm misplaying this line quite horribly. The endgame after queen takes a5, I don't think is equal at all. I think it's a rather poor version of this endgame, which I might have very, very serious trouble holding. This I was less worried about, because this felt to me, unless I've blundered something straight away, which is obviously very possible, that this gives me a much easier path forward. And in general, I think it's sort of good general wisdom for Grunfeld players is that White wants to preserve the e4 d4 pawn center for as long as possible, because it restrains the bishop on g7 and it just doesn't let the black pieces breathe. Whereas here, I am, far from making an argument that I'm better or anything, but it's a lot easier for me to see where my counterplay is coming from. Yeah, I have some designs on this rook on b7. I don't know if I can actually get that to work though. Maybe if I start with bishop d6. No, that's just completely stupid because now he can take on c8 and play rook b8. That's not a good move. I should have taken on c1. Like I'm trying to be clever here, and as per usual, it backfires badly. I think the general point stands, which we should be trying to play something like. I mean, I'm still doing very fine. Maybe I even have some like a modicum of pressure. Actually, no, rook c2 just holds everything together very comfortably. I thought I can have some initiative here connected with rook a3 ideas, but yeah, this also is a very safe way for white to play. Actually, I might have to be slightly careful because rook e3 check king d2, that rook might never come out. Yeah, and that basically all happened because I chose not to take on c1, which is really not great. a4 is a good move by my opponent here. This is a reasonably unpleasant position, actually. I mean, I'm hoping I will be able to hold it somehow, but it's no fun whatsoever because the rook on d7 is extremely passive, and white can look for ways of improvement, whereas it's very, very difficult to nominate anything that can pass as counterplay for me. Although bishop b4 does give me a little bit of hope because maybe I can get that rook over to a4 where at least it does something. Not very much. I mean, it's not as if I'm suddenly better or anything. But I should be able to make a draw here. Actually, I probably should have played rook a2 check here. This is a bit of a autopilot move because now he has an immediate draw if he wants it with king f1, king bishop b3, king e2. Not that I will be unhappy with the draw, honestly, in this position. I don't think I'm better, but if I wanted to continue the game and pretend to play, I should have played rook a2, and I'm correcting that mistake now. But once again, as long as my opponent doesn't do anything horribly stupid, which we have seen no indication that he's planning to do any of that. Yeah, I don't know. Like now that I've played h4, I'm a bit less happy about this, but this should still be okay. Or maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, that's a clever spot by my opponent, and I really should not. I did not expect him to go for this. Is the truth of the matter, and I allowed it kind of blithely because I just did not think I needed to worry about this at all, and maybe I should have. With the pawn on h5, this would have been a very, very comfortable draw. With the pawn on h4, I feel like I should be paying some attention. But it's probably still a very easily. And actually now I might actually become interested again a little bit. Not a ton, but a little bit, maybe. Definitely now, obviously. Now that I have an extra pawn, I will become very interested in this endgame. And we should be winning this reasonably comfortably now, because there's really no counterplay to talk about. Actually, there is some counterplay. I don't know what I'm talking about. How am I winning this exactly? Okay, now, yeah, this is the setup. I should have played bishop g5 first, but I think this is the setup, and now we have managed to cut down on counterplay, and we should be able to start pushing the opponent. Also, flagging your opponent works, obviously, but I think I am currently winning, and maybe I wasn't winning before, but I should be winning now. Could you try to play the Catalan with white? I could, yeah, but that requires for me to play d4 and for other things to fall into place as well. And I have missed. We play 3 minutes. I do generally, but today it's been difficult. I will probably try to play some 3 minutes games as well, but there's been some lag issues, and I didn't really feel like I enjoyed those very much. D4 is a no-go. No, I used to play D4. I mean, at some point I switched to almost a full-time D4 player. D4 is definitely a move you can make on move one. Hot take of the day. 1 D4 is not a horrible mistake. I promised some 3 minutes games, 3-minute games. Let's hang on. Kasparov fan, yeah, I think I started by losing 2 of my first 3 games. I don't think I've lost since, but I think, yeah, I definitely started by scoring -1 in the first 3. The camera angle makes him look taller and slimmer. I should never leave this room, I guess. What's the picture on the wall? I have no idea. I would assume it's some kind of a cheap knockoff of something. This being a hotel, I don't really expect it to be a real thing of any kind. Good game, Mr. Normal name. Too bad Peter is a shameless flagger. Actually, d takes e5. That's already a mistake, I'm pretty sure. I think you're supposed to play 97 without taking. And now I feel like a fatherless child or something. Yeah, that's I haven't listened to that in ages and ages. Clapton playing all those old classical blues was very much, a very large part of my childhood, but not anymore. I'm probably getting mated in this game. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but that's a good song, says the Liquidator 101. Isn't it just? It is a very good song. But sort of more to the point, how do I not get mated? I mean, I can castle long here, but that loses to bishop g5, which is not ideal. What if I make this extremely weird move? Yeah, this is what I was worried about. Like knight f5 in pretty much every single position was driving me slightly batty with worry. But let's be like the dog in the It's All Fine comic strip. I suspect something like queen e5 actually wins here, but my opponent still has to play it, and even after that, it's not. That doesn't win though. That most assuredly doesn't win. This one I did calculate actually, so it's not this much of a surprise to me that this doesn't work. But I'm fairly certain also that I was getting mated somewhere prior to that moment. Yeah, I'm not sure what we are trying to achieve here. I have two extra pieces. Well, I do have actually. Okay, I understand what we're trying to achieve here. I'm down to 40 seconds is what we're trying to achieve. Okay. uh, hello, Dormadontobot. That man got me my first ever host and probably my last ever host. That's a very fond memory. Being hosted by Ratsma when he just decided to stream randomly for 40 minutes and suddenly having 500 viewers was something I was spectacularly unprepared for that day. This is a line I used to play in classical chess as well against the bishop g5, bishop f4. It probably loses by force, but I still enjoy it a great deal because of just how zany it is. Like you will see in a moment, like my queen is on c7 and everything else goes back. And then you pretend this is somehow not lost. Sometimes you pretend successfully, sometimes less successfully, but you do pretend. I'm not sure about knight g5 though. My opponent plays very quickly, so I assume he's actually looked at this at some point, which is very disturbing because why would you? Actually does look like a good move. I will say that. Does look like a very decent move. What are we supposed to, like, my first instinct is to play f6, but then it still remains very, very difficult to develop the rest of our misbegotten pieces. And yeah, we struggle, but I still don't see anything stronger, so I will go for it. G6 without blinking your eyes, says Sleepy Mario. Yeah, maybe. Then again, maybe not. Yeah, and Ratsma having fewer viewers than this stream is not where you would expect this to go, but we are good, and he is retired, so seemingly. So we are where we are. It's where you would expect Hearthstone to go. That's very harsh. That's very, very harsh. I don't agree with that at all, Kappa. I'm playing d5 here not because I'm trying to attack anything on the queen side, but because I was really worried I will get mated if the bishop gets to d5. And also, I think the rook on b6 might be a useful defensive piece. Sort of mainly, I'm trying to restrict the bishop on b1 from actually getting to any good squares so that I have time to play, let's say, e6, bishop b7, and castles short. And then my position will be a very decent Sicilian, basically. This is sort of why this line is, yeah, I mean, playable is a bit of a stretch, but playable in practical terms, I think, is what I will go with. Because basically, if I don't get mated straight out the gate here, I do actually get a very playable kind of a Sicilian-ish position. This is quite clever, actually, what my opponent did in the last couple of moves. Quite like it. Wondering about rook d6, but there are things I don't quite like about it. Maybe I can do it this way. The point being that yes, I'm giving him some very nice play, but I'm also seemingly at least winning the c4 pawn, which is quite useful to me here. Also, queen e5. This will be a target. So I mean, without the inclusion of c4 and b4, I would definitely be taking on e5 here and playing this endgame very, very happily. But with that inclusion, it's less clear that it's good for black. So I will proceed with the original intention of just being greedy. Important not to blunder anything here, which is still very possible, but I think I'm on reasonably safe ground now. Bishop f1 is, like, I thought for a second there that I actually blundered the queen. Whoa. Okay, this doesn't, whoa. Idiot boy. This is, yeah, I completely missed rook takes c8, and now it's even worse than you would think, because I have to do this, and then I die to bishop e6. Okay, that's, well, I died to getting flagged more. Whoa, okay. Yeah, that's basically what's happening to me in 3-minute games today. But also I did miss knight a6. I didn't miss knight a6, but for some reason I thought rook takes c8, he will get mated on the back rank. And the whole point that queen on c8 actually protects the c1 square eluded me altogether. So, like, in this position, I should have good moves, but h6 is not one of them. Something like maybe start with bishop d6 or, well, do something, just not what I've done. And then in a position, well, honestly, like, yes, I did get flagged, but also if in this position he goes bishop e6, I resign. Bishop e6, check, and knight c1, and my position is just dead lost as well. It's like my dad pre-moving. Probably worse than your dad, Mark Blutman. Yeah, my pre-moving is not up to scratch. Luckily for me, most games I get away without having to pre-move. But when you do watch me pre-move, it's not very educational. But yeah, my opponent played a very nice game. Also, actually knew some theory in a very, very obscure line. So yeah, well, lots of good things to say about my opponent's play in that game. Yeah, I don't know what I want here. Let's play a line immortalized by Magnus, who has done this once and once only, and probably will never do this again, but it has the stamp of approval, so to speak. Probably a3, a5 is not that great, to be honest. Like, I already see the outlines of a position I will severely dislike in my future, but once again, nothing new there. There might be some lag issues, UFJ, but that's mainly to do with the connection I'm on, and for once, mods can do absolutely nothing about it. I do apologize, but frankly, neither can I. There's very, very little I can do to improve the connection provided by the hotel here. Yeah, this is not a great position for black. Obviously, b5 is extremely annoying because the pawn s6 is weak. I'm kind of looking for the opportune moment to play knight bd7, but that will not equalize. Even b takes a5, frankly, will be extremely annoying. This makes my life slightly easier, actually, because it gives me definitive targets to play against, sort of. They're not exactly targets, like after queen a4. I don't think it's fair to call the white queen side targets, but at least like if I can play something like bishop b8, bishop c7, and not be lost in that time. I will actually continue harassing my opponent here and hope for some tactics, because queen takes a5, bishop c7 actually win the pawn on c5 back, and then my position is quite decent. Prago-Sarin. Well, I'm not the right person to answer that, because like if you ask Boris or Vladimir Kramnik or somebody who's actually worked with the kids recently, they would have a much clearer idea of where they stand. So I will go with some kind of a boilerplate answer. Both of them look extremely promising. It's very difficult to pick, and both of them have great potential in the game. I think on the whole harassing topic, I think it very much depends on where you're from. And today I'm choosing to pretend I'm British, which I am very much not, but queen a4, yeah, it's a horrible piece. On king h7, I played this move so that once he takes on a8 twice here, this is not a check. It's a cute little tactical detail which gives me a pawn here. I would like to play bishop b6, but I don't actually have a comfortable reply to knight a4, which is bugging me. Maybe I can start with queen c5. Completely miss bishop a3. This is not good. Should not be doing this to my position. I should still be okay because the white pieces are somewhat tangled, and I don't... What the... At least play queen b6. What are you doing, man? I will be very upset about having to resign this game. This was a game I had absolutely under control. People were saying they will give prizes if somebody gets me swearing. I'm very close to swearing here. Like, how do you lose this position in 2 moves? Why? Why exactly? Be more constructive with your feedback. And we are actually out of the 3000s. We're not stopping now. I can tell you this much for nothing. And famous last words, because what I choose to do about it is accept a 3-minute challenge from somebody who is clearly very good. We are stopping soon, though, because there's people lined up to continue after I'm done, and there's some Liverpool action going on, which I want to be a part of. What to play? I have no idea what to play here. Definitely not this, but this is kind of tilt setting in, basically. kind of significant significant tilt issues being encountered right now, because yeah, that last game I'm very unhappy about. And the fact that I'm actually contemplating playing b2 b4 in this position is, further testimony to the fact that I am tilted out of my mind. And also probably slightly worse, which is not improving matters on the tilt front. Also, just so that we're clear, do not play knight g1 in this position. In case for some reason you are wondering if it's an actual good move you can make, it's a legal move you can, like, it's a move. Like, that's the best thing I can say about it. It's a legal move in the position that we are discussing. The thing about knight g5 here is that if he chooses not to take the bait, which once again, considering how well my opponent has played up to now, we have absolutely zero reason to suspect that he will, I don't have a next move. I am not actually threatening to take on f6 because my knight on g5 will be captured. So none of this is great. But there is a tactical point if he takes twice. Sort of. Like, I'm not sure it's a good tactical point, but there's definitely a tactical point if he takes twice. You should think about a happy song like tra-la-la-la, dee-dee-dee-dee, to wake up in the morning. Yeah. Tra-la-la-la, dee-dee-dee-dee, and people are absolutely destroying me in this session, which is not how I envisaged it to go. H4 is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. I should have maybe spent some more time on this move because it's an important decision, but I just feel like I need to play faster because it's a 3-minute game, and the way they've been going this stream, I just need to play as fast as possible. And the tactical point I was referring to earlier is knight e4. But obviously with the bishop on e7, it works a lot less well. There's still some merit to it. It's not entirely stupid. I've gotten rid of all of my bad pieces, and the remaining pieces actually make some semblance of sense. Yeah, I'm not sure why he included this check on before. That's clever. But actually not that clever. I think I'm being let back into the game here by my opponent, which is unexpected. And yeah, this is suddenly a very good position for me. Which is not how I expected this game to go at all. But sometimes you get a nice break. And we are back to over 3,000, which would be, I think, a reasonable way to conclude this stream, in particular because I think Samuel is following me, and that's something to watch. I would very much recommend you stay around and watch him do this. I also have sort of somewhere to be, and I don't want to hold people following me up too much. Thanks everyone for watching. And I will see you again at some point. I'm not entirely sure when, but there should be some more bantering action in our mutual futures. Once again, happy birthday to chess24. It's been a life-changing experience to me. In all honesty, without chess24, my last 5 to 6 years would have been very, very different, and frankly, probably much worse. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity to do all kinds of things on this platform, and I hope you also enjoy it. And with that shameless plug of the improvement of my life, I will hand you over to the capable hands of, I believe, Mr. Shankland. If I'm once again misremembering the sequence, I do apologize. Thanks, and yeah, bye.